Take 1, 2, 3, go. It's the village revolutionary out here. You know who I am? It's the Haitian Che Guevara. That's right. We out here doing a protest for Haiti Lives Matter, Operation Tabula Rasa. The goal of Haiti Lives Matter is to expose the illegitimate government in Haiti and to implement a new government, Operational Tabula Rasa, to implement a new government in Haiti. This is my setup right here. See how we rocking. Today I'm going to read something to you about the indigenous people of Haiti and the indigenous people of the Americas. Like I told you before, there's a such thing as fake news. Trump says fake news, but I say fake history. They say Christopher Columbus was the first to discover Americas until you find out about Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa abdicated the throne to his older brother, Abu Bakari. Abu Bakari was the first to cross the Atlantic, and he came here before Christopher Columbus. What happened with Abu Bakari is that he used to study at Timbuktu. After he studied at Timbuktu, he found out about the world being, the globe being more big than people knew. He found out there was land across the sea. Basically, what happened is in his study of Timbuktu, he made a decision to empower the people, and he sent an expedition across the ocean. He sent an expedition across the ocean of about 200 people and about 100 ships. Now all of them came back. Some of them came back to Abu Bakari, and one guy told Abu Bakari that they saw land, but he decided to return. So he returned, and Abu Bakari abdicated his throne to Mansa Musa and came to the Americas. Why is this relevant? Because when Christopher Columbus landed on the island of Haiti, the queen of Haiti at the time, Queen Anna Kanoa, she stated that Christopher Columbus and his men reminded her of Abu Bakari and the people that arrived from across the land. Now, what happened is when Abu Bakari arrived in the Americas, he caused a stir because he brought new technology, there were different people, and this new spread. That's why they were so welcoming to they were so welcoming to Christopher Columbus. That's right, Queen Anna Kanoa of Haiti, she wrote it to one of her priests, one of her captains, when they were in the letter exchange, it's noted in there. Now, I'm also going to tell you about the Indigenous Army of Haiti. The Indigenous Army of Haiti was formed at the Battle de Veritière. The Battle of Veritière was the last battle of Haiti, and it was an important one because it was the indigenous people, the Maroons of Haiti, who demanded that they call it the Indigenous Army of Haiti. Now, I'm going to read you some quotes some famous Americans said about indigenous peoples of the Americas. Malcolm X once said, Aborigine, which means black folks. You will never find a white Aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are Aborigine, but you don't like to be called an Aborigine. Martin Luther King stated in his I Have a Dream speech that black people in the Americas now find themselves exiled in their own land. In fact, the Poor People's Campaign was about the disenfranchisement of the ancestors of ADOS, FBA by the Homestead Act. James Baldwin once said, it comes as a great shock to discover that the flag you have pledged allegiance to has not pledged allegiance to you. It comes as a great shock to discover Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper that the Indians were you. Prior to the late 1800s, it was a well-known fact that there were black sovereign civilizations established in the Americas before the European invasion under the doctrine of discovery. The term American is a noun which originally applied only to the indigenous Aboriginal or copper-colored people found in the Americas by European colonizers, but it is now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. The ADOS/FBA refers to the descendants of these indigenous Aboriginal people of North America who were reclassified as Indian in 1492, Negro in 1832, Colored in 1900, Black in 1965, Afro-American in 1970, and African-American in 1988. The African-American, which refers to two continents, is the only demographic in the Americas which this has occurred to. The ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, and FBA, Foundational Black Americans, refers to this demographic of Americans whose ancestors were the victims of chattel slavery by the North American colonies and are still getting exploited by the same system to this day. As descendants of indigenous Aboriginal Americans, the United Nations must recognize the plea of ADOS, #FBA for restitution and reparations under the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. Bang. Peace. Out. One.